Spangler today, a lefty who will mix a curve, a drop, and an effective changeup and throw in the low 60s.
And she will kick it off against the senior of Oldsmar, Florida, Aaliyah Andrews. Softball on a Sunday, and strike one delivered from Spangler. Ron Alexander, the plate umpire, with a call. Elizabeth Hammerschmidt's the umpire at first. Tom Meyer at third in Game 1 of this doubleheader. Game 2 will follow our game. That will be on SEC Network Plus. Andrews lays down a bunt, and Kowalik's throw is not quite in time to first. So one National Player of the Year finalist beats out a throw from another.
Still what I was about to say is the finalists going up against each other. Kowalik back behind the plate, the speed of Andrews, but the speed of Andrews wins in this one. Basically, when she lays down a bunt, if it's anywhere in that territory, her speed is going to get her on first base.
I've gotten very good at reading your mind, I think, Amanda.
Already.
Advantages of being the play-by-play. Here is Sierra Briggs, and Briggs tries to bunt her way on as well, and this is out of play for strike one. Briggs was 3 for 4 in the game Friday, coming off a great weekend against North Carolina State. 5 for 9, 3 walks, 2 home runs. Was the SEC co-newcomer of the week. Andrews starts but heads back to first. A fake stolen base attempt on ball one to Briggs. Aaliyah Andrews, a great stolen base threat. And the numbers on Briggs have been brilliant. She started all 42 games and leads the team in slugging percentage, .557 out of the number 2 spot. Briggs with a high chopper here, and Spangler's not going to have a shot. Back-to-back base hits that don't even make it to the circle. Andrews and Briggs to start for LSU.
Yeah, speed at the top of the order for LSU. Briggs is going to slap, and her job as a slapper is to hit the ball as close to home plate as possible to be able to create a high hop like she just did there. And because she had that speed, not only is she able to advance Andrews, but she gets herself to first base.
And a third straight lefty now, Taylor Pleasance, who takes ball one. Another freshman, the Houston product Pleasance, leads the Tigers in doubles with 8 and in home runs with 8. Second most walks on the team with 22. Pleasance is going to show bunt as well. Kowalik throws on third, and Andrews is safe. She just got around the tag attempt of Miranda Stoddard. Double steal with Briggs taking second behind her.
So it is a bunt situation. Pleasant showed bunt to be able to draw Stoddard up, and it was Koffel, the shortstop, who came over to cover. That was close. I thought she was out. Amazing play by Koffel. What a throw by Kowalik to be able to throw it on the money to a running Koffel covering third base.
To the naked eye, I agreed with you. But the call was made safe by Tom Meyer at third. And now Pleasance fouls one away, strike two. So it's either a break for LSU or it's a correct call by an inch. Either way, second and third, nobody out in the first. 2-2 for Pleasance.
You know, when LSU's offense is really clicking, they have the speed, they have the power. So for them to come out right away, Andrews and Briggs, infield singles, using their speed and being able to steal, that's the LSU offense that we've grown used to.
It's an LSU team that's only hitting .252 in SEC play. Collective .326 on base, .389 slugging. Those are not great numbers, but the stolen base threat for Andrews and the speed of this team can push them despite the lack of production at times at the plate. This one drilled by Pleasance into right field and long gone. Taylor Pleasance drops the hammer after a couple of infield singles, and LSU explodes in the first 3 runs before an out's recorded.
Taylor Pleasance is just so good. Her swing is absolutely beautiful. off-speed pitch. She's able to hold back on it enough to get behind it and extend out towards right center field for a 3-run bomb. LSU is yet to get out in this inning. This is the LSU offense when they are clicking. This is what it looks like.
1 for 12 over the last couple of weekends for Pleasance. And she unloads against Spangler, and Beth Torina is a very happy third base coach right now. Team leading 9th home run for Pleasance. LSU's 48th as a group. And they're third in the series so far here in Game 2. Still nobody out. Cleanup batter Georgia Clark. And Spangler's all over the map with this pitch.
Think about, too, how today's going to be a longer day. Both teams going to play a doubleheader. They'll play this one and then play a game after. So you want to go out and grab that momentum early. Especially after a Game 1 loss by LSU. Had all day yesterday to think about it. Just sat and watched it rain. Wanted to get back out on the field and kind of be able to come back out and get back on the board early. It's huge.
Well, this is an LSU team that has excelled this year in games 2 and 3 of series. They're 2-6 in Game 1. Beth Torina, we asked her about it. She said, look, we don't have the time on this call to get into what the issues could be. Trying to figure out the reason for the slow starts in series as Clark gets the 3-0 green light. But as the weekends have gone on in SEC, the LSU bats have heated up, and so far, today is no exception. Georgia Clark, the sophomore, in a 12-game on-base streak. And she'll take a called strike 2.
It is still a really talented LSU team. They have those 15 losses. They're 8-8 in SEC play. They just played an extremely challenging schedule, the toughest strength of schedule in the country.
That's ball 4, so the on-base streak is at 13 games for Clark. And the first 4 have reached for LSU in Game 1. Rachel Lawson, Kentucky's head coach. And the wheels are probably spinning for Rachel Lawson right now with another game behind this. And Spangler in some major trouble in the first. Here's Raylene Gutierrez. Freshman out of Upland, California, takes ball 1. Gutierrez has reached base in 9 consecutive games, career high for her. Only started about half of LSU's games. Beth Torina said, we didn't know what to do with her. They came up with what she's called the outfield switcheroo. They re-enter and substitute, and they just want Raylene's bat in the lineup, even if there are players with better outfield gloves. Beth said, look, we have to do it because we need this girl in the lineup every day.
It's a very technical term, outfield switcheroo. I mean, you'll find
Right.
it in every baseball, softball dictionary. Or it could be a term that just Beth Torina and the coaching staff at LSU came up with to make their roster and lineup work. They're able to
What do you
get a
think?
lot of
You
different
find
players
switcheroo
in.
in your glossaries growing up?
Oh, every year. I try to get it in at least 2 times a year. And so now I've hit my quota because I'll just say it one more time in this game and I'll be done.
Yeah. What you going to do? It's a switcheroo. 3-1 is high. Gutierrez walks. 2 infield singles, 1 on a bunt, a home run, and then 2 walks. The first 5 batters have reached for LSU. And here comes Rachel Lawson. Tatum Spangler was dynamite a week ago yesterday against Auburn. 5 one-hit, 2-walk shutout innings. And she does not get an out today in Game 1. Grace Ballman is going to come into the game and pitch. We will stay right here as Kentucky changes to Ballman in the circle. A nightmare start for Kentucky, a dream start for LSU as Spangler exits. And Grace Ballman enters, trying to keep this game, Amanda, at 3 runs in the first.
Yeah, the one thing that Kentucky has going for him is Grace Ballman enters the circle. She'll throw drop, change up, and try to tunnel those 2 pitches to get some late break. And also mix in her rise. But the one thing that Kentucky has going for them is that they have a really good offense. You saw them hit the long ball on Friday night. They have they're up at the top of the SEC in a lot of offensive categories. So this is a Kentucky team that is never really out of a ball game, no matter how far the team jumps out in front of them.
Trailed by 3 runs in the 5th inning on Friday. Won that game 7-5. Spangler is in the lineup. She was in the starting pitcher spot. Ballman ending up at the designated player spot. She was at third base. A lineup switch made before the game at the lineup card exchange. If you're a pitcher on this Kentucky team, you hit. I mean, this is maybe across the board the best example of pitchers who rake in college softball, 1 through 5.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of flexibility and different options with your lineup. You saw Miranda Stoddard, who is playing third base right now. She's also a pitcher on this staff. They all can swing it too. You all want them in there offensively to be able to do some damage.
So Ballman in, Spangler out. Spangler had only walked 7 batters this season in 26 2/3. She is out after back-to-back walks. And Amanda Doyle will bat, the senior third baseman, one of just 2 seniors in the lineup for LSU. Doyle first pitch hunting and fouls away Ballman's first delivery. Amanda Doyle missed the last 2 games against North Carolina State last week. Defensive replacement on Friday. A little bit of a minor injury. It's the first time she had not started at third base in 213 games. That's in the air on the infield. Infield fly rule in effect. And the second baseman, Emmy Blaine, makes the catch. So Grace Ballman comes in and gets a quick first out. Now the LSU starting pitcher, Shelby Sinceri, is going to bat before she throws down in the 7th spot. Two-way players on both teams. Sinceri out of Santa Fe. Walked 3 times. All 3 of her plate appearances on Friday. Sinceri leads the team with 26 walks. Very good on base percentage of .407. And a little bit of pop, too, with 6 home runs.
Yeah, surprising to see her average so low at .225. She's the type of player that can hit high 300s, hit 400, and give you 15 home runs and a 1.2 ERA.
We don't have... I'm sorry, go ahead, Amanda.
You've seen lower averages in this LSU lineup, and she's definitely one of them. They're hitting .265 as a team, but their averages as a team and as individuals are just not reflective of the type of talent that LSU has all throughout their lineup.
The on-base numbers are good, too, so they're seeing a lot of pitches. And I wonder, we don't have batting average on balls in play numbers readily available. I'm guessing, just from reading the numbers, there's probably some bad batted ball luck in there because they're seeing pitches, they're working deep counts. But the averages are lower than you would expect. And there's still certainly room to grow for this LSU team down the stretch. On 2-2, Sinceri absolutely drills one to left field. A sinking line drive is caught, though, by Lauren Johnson for out number 2.
Good read by Lauren Johnson out in left field. Jammed up Sinceri a little bit, so that ball was going to die on her. All she had to do was just run full steam ahead and grab it. But a lot of power, a lot of potential power in this lineup, so the outfield is playing back against the warning track.
Number 8 batter is the catcher, Morgan Cummins, who takes a drop ball below the knees. Sophomore from Sarasota, Morgan Cummins. 1 for 4, hit a 2-run home run on Friday, just her second of the year. It's a player who had some pop last season, Cummins. 11 extra base hits in 19 games. Hit 400 in the shortened COVID year. Trying to find her swing. And she takes a called strike 2 from Grace Ballman. This was 3-0 before an out was recorded. A bunt single from Andrews, an infield hit for Briggs, a home run from Pleasance. A couple of batters later, the starting pitcher Spangler was out. Ballman is in, and she just hit Cummins.
But that's just a take of trying to get your hands to where they need to be in a swing. That ball just continued to rise up.
6 times Cummins has been hit by a pitch this year. That leads the Tigers. And it loads the bases for the 9-hitter Danica Coffey as Cummins gets a look from the LSU training staff. So here's Danica Coffey in the 9 spot. Freshman out of Ridgewood, Texas. And got off to a great start, has struggled a bit of late.
This is where they start to pick back up with their speed, too. She's hitting in the 9 spot, then you have Andrews on deck, and then Briggs behind her. So speed, 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 followed by that power.
There is the top 25 player of the year looming behind her, Andrews, who started this whole thing with a bunt single. Stole third as part of a double steal later. Coffey on 1-1. That is out of play for strike 2. Only 2 for 21, 1 walk for Coffey over the last 3 weekends, and trying to push the lineup to that young woman in the back. Ballman on 1-2. And she nicked the corner for strike 3. So Grace Ballman leaves the bases loaded. Does a great job in relief of Tatum Spangler, but Taylor Boyd.
One of the best left-handed swings in the entire country. Taylor Pleasance scoring early to get LSU on top.
College softball is brought to you by ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Potential SEC Player of the Year will lead off the bottom of the first for Kentucky. Kayla Kowalik on a 22-game hit streak, the longest in Kentucky program history, the nation's leader in hits and batting average, 11th in the country in on-base percentage, and after 2 years without a home run to start her career, she has banged 11, a season of all-around mastery for Kayla Kowalik, and she'll lead off this Kentucky lineup, which has the same lefty-righty makeup as LSU's, oddly enough. Spangler knocked out of the game as the starter, but she'll stay in to bat second. Erin Koffel in the cleanup spot, who has shattered the Kentucky freshman home run record. And they're going to face Shelby Sinceri, who threw an inning and a third of relief ball on Friday. Sinceri, the junior, will make the start for LSU in game 1 of this doubleheader, her 10th start, 18th appearance on the year.
Yeah, Sinceri, a veteran for LSU, 6-5 on the year. I really like her drop ball, although Sinceri is such a well-rounded pitcher. She can throw really any pitch and any count. You'll see her move the ball east, west, north, south, but when I really sit and watch LSU and Shelby Sinceri pitch, it's her drop ball to me that seems like she relies on whenever she needs a strike and an out.
2-1 to Kowalik. We talked to Beth Tarina about Shelby Sinceri, who faces Kowalik, the top 25 National Player of the Year finalist. The numbers are just staggering. OPS over 1,400 near the end of April. And this is blasted out to left by Kowalik. And the hit streak is at 23 as Kowalik leaves the yard. Right out of the chute, Kayla Kowalik does what Kayla Kowalik does.
And nobody does what Kayla Kowalik does when it comes to all the different tools she has in the left-handed batter's box. Keeps her feet still, swings away, lets that pitch travel to get on her barrel, be able to shoot it the opposite way for a home run, to answer back right away. What makes her so versatile, Kevin, is that Friday night in game one, whenever she led off the game, she led off with her wheels in an infield single, a slap. Today, she leads it off with a powerful home run.
Her 12th of the season, and now Tatum Spangler serves one into left field, caught by Sierra Briggs. It is ridiculous what Kayla Kowalik can do on a softball diamond. You always know that something cool, something fun, something interesting is going to happen. You just don't know what. But after a first inning where Kentucky was shell-shocked, Kowalik goes the other way for a 12th home run, and the Wildcats are right back in the game.
It's just this really unique combination, Kevin, of speed, bunt, slap, power, and she's also the catcher. So everything into that combination makes her just so special.
So Kowalik's home run, her 12th, and now Lauren Johnson will bat. And a walk-off sacrifice fly midweek against Louisville. Johnson. A lot of big hits for Kentucky this year. The senior in-state player from Owensboro. Johnson 360, 425 on base. Does not have a home run. And she bounces this one to first. Play is made there by Raylene Gutierrez, who started the game in right field, moves into first. The outfield switcheroo has already begun. Taryn Antoine is in to play right field. Georgia Clark out of the game for the time being. She'll come back in and re-enter to bat her next time up, we imagine. But for now, it is Gutierrez at first, Antoine in right for LSU. Look at Rachel Lawson, the head coach at Kentucky, her 14th year. And she'll send Erin Koffel to the plate. Koffel will send one right back to Sinceri. Final three batters retired after a leadoff home run from who else? Kayla Kowalik, 3-1 after one.
One run, one hit, no LSUers and none left on base. To up for the Tigers are Andrews, Briggs, and Pleasant. And be sure to post your pictures from today's game to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using the hashtag WeAreUK for your chance to be on the video board. All right, man, it's time to play John Crop Jukebox, where you can select the music.
I mean, even some of the players in their interviews said, well, I've never heard of her, but I hope she's going to be great.
We kind of went over it, you know, you weren't the first choice. And she said, what should I say? And I said, you tell them they got the right coach.
I truly feel that LSU hired the right coach for the job.
Reminisced on that moment a little bit with Beth that week. The other woman you saw there was Yvette Girard, the previous head coach at LSU, and it was a whirlwind weekend, Amanda, where Patrick Murphy was introduced at LSU, decided he couldn't do it. He didn't want to leave Alabama. So Beth Tarina, 32 years old at the time, head coach at FIU, got the gig and it's a move that has proven to work out brilliantly for both programs and both coaches.
Yeah, what a wild story. I remember that happening, and I just can't believe that it was a decade ago, 10 years that she's been the head coach now at LSU and has made them a top 10 team, top 15 team year in and year out with multiple World Series appearances. But she told us, Kevin, that she took the job whenever she was at Wrigley Field watching her favorite team play, the Cubs. And that's where she accepted the job. Didn't remember anything about the Cubs game, what the score was, if they won, what was happening, but what a moment for her.
Leah Andrews leading off and takes a strike, 1-2. Beth Torina's job has been substantially happier because she's had a player with the last name Andrews for 9 out of her 10 years at LSU. AJ first and now Aaliyah. Both superstars in the outfield in their own right. Andrews, a slow ground ball, and she will reach safely. Would have been a tough play even if Koppel had fielded it cleanly. Aaliyah Andrews on base for the second straight time.
Yeah, this will go down as a hit, not an error because of the speed of Andrews, but everything because of her speed has to be perfect. You kept no room for error, any type of bobble, missing your transfer, misstep, it doesn't matter. Her speed is going to get her on every time.
Here's Sierra Briggs, who reached on a single bounce back to the pitcher her first time. So the speed game has set up the power already in one inning for LSU. Bunt single, infield single, double steal, and then the Taylor Pleasance 3-run homer. Briggs going to show bunt here and knock it foul, strike 2.
It's the best part about having Briggs in the 2-hole is that she actually can hit for a little bit of power. Her slugging percentage is .557, but even in a bunt situation, you can have her drag and still put pressure on a defense. So you not only have that sacrifice bunt opportunity to advance a runner, but because of her speed, she has the ability to get on herself.
That one chopped to third, and Briggs is just thrown out by Miranda Stoddard as Andrews takes second. Hey, tonight, Sunday Night Baseball, the series finale in what's been an emotional couple of weekends between the Padres and the Dodgers. The Padres have won 2 of the first 3 in this series, had the lead late yesterday before Corey Seager's go-ahead 2-run single. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Baseball tonight, Sunday Night Countdown. There's also going to be an alternative StatCast version of the broadcast tonight that you can watch over on ESPN2. Matt Vasgersian, Alex Rodriguez on the main call. Jason Benetti, Eduardo Perez, Mike Petriello on the StatCast broadcast. Maybe they'll be breaking down the StatCast on Fernando Tatis Jr.'s home run trots from the past couple of nights. Must-see TV finale between the Padres and the Dodgers. This young woman has been must-see TV. Taylor Pleasance, who blasted off for a home run in the first inning. 2-1 here from Grace Ballman.
Just imagine a world, Kevin, where Taylor Pleasance, if she were a man, she would be making millions of dollars in Major League Baseball as soon as she was done with her college career. I mean, she's that type of player. And we have multiple players like that within this game. She's one of them, Taylor Pleasance, Kayla Kowalik back behind the plate, but they're just such incredible athletes with the prettiest swings and great softball IQ. They know the game. They live and breathe the game. They're able to do so much.
She is a 6-foot-tall freshman shortstop. I mean, how many shortstops in the game have that kind of length and flexibility and a good eye as she works a walk?
So good. So much range, too, to go with that length that she has.
Third walk of the game for LSU. Georgia Clark will re-enter and bat. And Clark is first pitch swinging but serves it foul, strike 1. It was fun talking to Beth Torina about Georgia Clark. She said, you know, I'm trying to figure out where to fit in players at first, at DP, in the corners. And there are certain players who can only play in one spot. Georgia Clark can only play first, though she'll tell you she can play shortstop. But wherever she plays, she's swinging it. 3-run home run on Friday, walking her first trip today.
I think that's the mindset that most players have, and that's what gets them to the Division I level, is the fact that there's nothing you can't do. You're so competitive. You need to put me at short, center field. I got you. Whatever it takes, I think I can do it.
0-2 from Ballman is way high and away. Grace Ballman entered the game in the first inning. Tatum Spangler faced 5 batters, couldn't retire any. Spangler, by the way, is playing right field right now for Kentucky. Riley Smith into the DP spot for the moment. Fouled away, still 1-2.
As a defender, you're always thinking a play ahead. If the ball comes to me, this is what I'm going to do with it. It doesn't matter if you're playing first base, second base, center field, left field. And to see Aaliyah Andrews at second and the speed that she represents, if you're an outfielder and the ball is on the ground, it already puts so much pressure on you, even though Andrews is at second base and not at home plate.
Does that get in your head as a pitcher, too?
About the speed at second base?
Yeah.
Not so much. No, I'd be more concerned with the Georgia Clark long ball up at the plate. But you know that if she hits it to the outfield, that she's likely Andrews is going to score if she hits it on the ground.
Already saw her steal third in the first inning on a bang-bang play. Her 24th steal of the year, 26 tries. Seventh pitch coming from Ballman to Clark on 2-2. And there will be an 8th. What have you seen out of Grace Ballman so far in relief?
I've seen some good pitches. I like the way, or I don't like the way on a 0-2, 1-2 count. She'll throw more of a waste pitch. It's a non-competitive pitch. I'd like to see her make those type of pitches a little bit closer.
I don't know if that's an intentional waste pitch. I think not on 2-2, but that's sort of what you're talking about, right? That pitch way off the plate?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just because every pitch matters. Every pitch is something that the hitter is going to see and think, do I need to attack this? And the easier choice it is for them, the more confident they feel in the box. Like, too, the way that she's been able to mix speeds that we've seen. It's not a huge difference from her fastest stuff. Like, sometimes you'll see 20, 25 mile an hour drop off. But for her, it's just a few, like a more of an off-speed type pitch. But it's been effective for her whenever she's needed to throw it.
This will be pitch number 10 in this battle with Clark. There goes Andrews. The pitch is inside. And Clark did not go around. Georgia Clark walks for the second time. Andrews goes to third. Pleasant's down to second, and LSU has the bases loaded for the second straight inning.
Yeah, and you've got to be able to capitalize on this if you are LSU. They loaded them up back in the first inning, weren't able to score. In fact, when Ballman came in, she was able to get some quick outs, but also left 9 on base in game 1, too, in that loss.
Here's Ray Gutierrez. And that pitch just off the plate. Four walks already for LSU. Gutierrez has one of them. Gutierrez sitting 2-0. And she'll take a strike.
It's going Good eye by Gutierrez. Yeah, it was a strike, but what a pitcher's pitch made there by Ballman to just nip the corner right at the knees.
Ballman's been working low and away this at-bat. She goes there again, and Gutierrez again takes it. It's time for ball 3. (3-1). Gutierrez swings away. Ballman back to the plate for one. On to first. It's a 1-2-3 double play. On a 3-1 pitch with the bases loaded, Ballman and Kentucky get out of the mess.
Gutierrez got anxious on this outside pitch, hits it off the end of her bat, and Ballman to Kowalik to Payton. What a double play to get out of a big jam.
This is year 14 at Kentucky for Rachel Lawson, who's had tremendous success. Kentucky had one winning season in 11 years before she got here. They've got 12 in her 14 years. Everybody has an origin story. Everybody in softball gets started at some point, likely when they were young. Rachel Lawson's origin story involves her time in the rodeo. There is a young Rachel riding her horse, said she was not very good at the rodeo, but she is the 10th in a line of 12 siblings. Let's just leave that picture up there for a while. Plays well with a visor. Number 10 in a line of 12, the last of 9 girls, and her parents would take them to the rodeo growing up in Colorado, and Rachel said, I really didn't love the rodeo. I love animals, maybe more than people. I love just hanging out with the horse, but in between events, the adult softball field, the local field, was next to the rodeo. So I'd bring my horse over there, walk over in between events, and when it was time, eventually one of my siblings would run out and say, Rachel, you gotta go ride. But she would spend as much time as she could in between events in the rodeo watching softball. That's how she fell in love with the game growing up, and look at where it's taken her as Renee Abernathy grounds out to start the home second.
Yeah, she even told us if it wasn't for rodeo, I wouldn't be a softball person. I'm just imagining a little young Rachel, like we saw, with her horse at a softball field. Now, that's not something that you see every day, a horse at a softball field, but happened to Rachel Lawson.
Not something that you see almost any day. You see a lot of dogs at softball fields now, but not many horses. But we should have more. We're in Kentucky. If we're going to see a horse at a softball field, this is the place to do it.
Yeah, maybe take one out on the berm behind the outfield where there are lots of people watching the game.
A lot of grass to chew. Mallory Payton, the batter, 1 ball and 1 strike to the Kentucky senior.
How interesting is it, though, that Rachel Lawson is one of 12, and she was a catcher, and Beth Torina was an only child and a pitcher.
Yeah, Rachel said philosophically, you could not have 2 more different head coaches in one matchup than me and Beth.
They always have just such good matchups, and LSU and Coach Torina, feels like Kentucky is kind of their kryptonite. They've not played well against them. In fact, have a losing record against Kentucky since Torina has been the head coach there.
Payton into center field. Andrews will watch it go. That got out of here in a millisecond. Mallory Payton out onto the berm with a home run. And Kentucky, after giving up 3 runs in the first 3 batters of the game, is within 1 in the second.
Mallory Payton trying to come back from a hand injury, just being able to drive the pitch right back up the middle of the field. A bit of a split grip, just barely sneaks over for a souvenir for the fans out there on the berm that we were just mentioning. No horses to be seen, but a solo shot, the second solo home run in this game for Kentucky.
Payton has homered in the first 2 games of this series, now 40 in her Kentucky career, which is 3rd all time. And after missing a couple of weeks offensively with that hand injury, she played 1 week on defense only. The bat looks good for Mallory Payton. Here's Ballman. 2-0 for Grace Ballman. As Kowalik and Peyton have sent a couple souvenirs out to the fans. Grace Ballman began this game as the designated player. Very quickly became the starting pitcher, or at least the pitcher of note in the game for Kentucky. 3-1 to her here as she stays in the lineup. Batting at .273, 13 walks for .388 on base, and all of her extra base hits, all 5 have left the yard. Hitter-friendly count, and Ballman will take an off-speed strike 2.
It's a prime example, a couple of home runs that Kentucky has hit, why no lead ever really feels big enough, and why it really stands out to me in this game how many base runners that LSU has already left on base.
Ballman into shallow right field, and the catch made. That is Taryn Antoine, who came into the game defensively in the bottom of the first for out number 2.
Against a team like Kentucky who can swing the bat really well, be able to drive in those runs with the runners in scoring position opportunities, the bases loaded opportunities that they've had some big chances LSU has had and kept Kentucky in this game.
They've left 5 base runners in the first 2 innings. LSU had the bases loaded twice. Would have been 6 base runners, but a double play erased one of those last inning. Number 8 hitter for Kentucky, Miranda Stoddard, third baseman at the plate. The sun tries to peek through the haze. Been a morning of fog here in Lexington after a day that was filled with rain yesterday. Game was postponed about 6 hours before first pitch due to the weather forecast, and now it looks like the weather fortunes might be turning around a little bit.
Kind of a crazy combination of gray and sunny there.
And depending on what camera angle you have, it looks like a gorgeous day, or it's still kind of an ugly morning.
Yeah.
But luckily for us, the center field camera makes it seem better, although the sun has disappeared a little bit now. But we choose to look on the bright side of life.
Always.
Literally. Reminder, Game 2 today, be about a half hour after Game 1 ends. That game will be available on SEC Network Plus. Following our game on ESPN2, good one between Georgia and Tennessee, 2 top 25 teams. Stoddard, a jam shot, caught at second by Taylor Tidwell. But Kentucky gets one more back, another home run. Mallory Payton for the second straight game.
You better buckle up. We're just now headed to the third inning. There's been 3 home runs in this game, and Mallory Payton's shot was the third. There were 4 in Game 1.
Game, meanwhile, as LSU has the edge on Kentucky 3-2. And Amanda Doyle leads off the inning in the 6th spot. If time of possession was a metric that meant anything, LSU would be way up. They've been at bat for approximately 31 minutes in the game. Kentucky has been at bat for approximately 12 minutes. Doesn't mean a thing because LSU has stranded 5, and Kentucky's only 2 base runners, Amanda, have come on solo home runs.
Love the time of possession. And I'm also very curious, as we've never talked about this before, who is your football team?
You know, I grew up a fan of 2 NFC teams, which is a weird thing to say. That ball is rocketed to third, caught by Stoddard, out number 1. My dad is a fan of the New York Giants and Green Bay Packers, so I was a fan of both growing up.
Got on Miranda Stoddard in a hurry. Okay, so if you had to pick one.
As long as Aaron Rodgers is playing, I'm a fan of Aaron Rodgers. I'll go Green Bay. I very much enjoyed his Jeopardy guest host stint. I thought he was really good. You, what are you, Texans fan? Being from
Yeah,
that
I
area?
will bury my head in the sand being a Texans fan right now and probably forever. But
I know I didn't want to say it like out loud. I didn't want to expose you to the world, but I understand. My football partner the last couple of years, Andre Ware, does a great job on Texans radio. We support the Texans here.
Yeah, we'll do a good job of trading away our first or second round picks. Texans don't have any first or second round picks. We only have a third round pick and then fourth, couple of fifths, mind you. So we're in a good spot.
So everybody else is looking forward to Thursday night's draft except you, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, because it's going to be tough to rebuild with those picks that we have, but we'll see.
And those picks that you don't have, too.
Right.
But if you're a Dolphins fan, Thursday night could be one of the great nights of your sporting life as Shelby Sinceri works her way on. A 4-pitch walk here in the third.
You know, I feel like LSU has done a nice job at the plate being aggressive when they've seen a pitch that they can hit, but also having patience, too. So talked about time of possession, which is just a really funny softball stat, but it's a real thing in this game. And they've had really good at-bats. They've made Kentucky's pitchers work. They've drawn a lot of walks.
Grace Ballman, second time through the order here, and Morgan Cummins hits the first pitch deep and a right. Morgan Cummins is going to leave the yard for the second time in as many games. Home run derby in Lexington. Everybody gets a souvenir. Cummins with a home run to drive in 2 and put the Tigers back up 3.
Kevin, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Cummins hits the first pitch that she sees. It's a pitch over the heart of the plate about belt high, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to hit this one. But they've also shown really great patience to be able to take walks and be able to have good plate discipline, swing at strikes and pitches that they want to swing at, and take pitches that they don't.
It's amazing. They've swung at 28 of the 36 strikes Kentucky has thrown and made contact with all but 2 of those swings, and yet 5 walks to go around it. So the team-wide approach for Beth Torina's group has been magnificent, and the home run from Cummins makes it 5-2 LSU in game 1 of this doubleheader. Now LSU is going to decide to let Taryn Antoine hit. This is Danica Coffey's spot. Coffey as the DP. Antoine is going to come in after having played in right field early in the game. This is just one of many re-entries and substitutions Beth Torina is going to make with a smile on her face and a shrug on her shoulders.
Perfect gift. Perfect, emotion for...
Somebody cut that up now and make it into a GIF or a GIF. The Beth
Whatever.
Pull the mask down, whatever shrug. A delight to spend some time with Beth Torina. 10 years at LSU, 4 World Series, and just as self-deprecating, as thoughtful as any head coach really that you're going to talk to.
Yeah, she'll always make you chuckle a little bit, and very superstitious. Beth Torina and the coaching staff are.
There's a ground out from Antoine, 2 down. You mentioned the superstition. You'll notice that Beth's jacket is unzipped. One of her superstitions: unzip your zippers and you, and I quote, let the hits out, unquote.
And that parka is a lucky parka for them. However she starts the game, whatever she's wearing, she's going to wear it the entire way through. So that parka is lucky. And thankfully, she told us it was going to be cold this weekend in Lexington. So, she'll be comfortable with the parka on, the lucky parka. but there's some games wherever it starts, 50 degrees outside and then ends at 80, and she still has to keep the parka on.
She said, I needed an IV basically after the Missouri game because I had to keep the parka on. I had to sweat my face off and do it in the name of superstition. But this is a nice series for it.
Yeah, it definitely worked out for her.
About 50, low 50s today in Lexington. Everything's coming up to Arena as LSU leads it 5-2 on a 3-run home run from Taylor Pleasance in the first. 2-run home run this inning from Morgan Cummins. Aaliyah Andrews scored on that Pleasance home run. On base twice, a stolen base, and a run scored for the top 25 National Player of the Year finalist. Three-one. And that's in there for a called strike 2. Grace Ballman, some issues with walks in this game and this season. She's walked 3 2 2/3 here. Now 37 on the season in nearly 68 innings. Oh, man. That one hit Andrews in the helmet. She appears to be just fine as she takes first base.
And thank goodness she has that mask on, too. And actually ended up hitting the top of her head. Been on base all 3 times in this game.
Leadoff hitter has batted in all 3 innings, reached in all 3 innings. And with 2 out, Briggs up. Prime opportunity for Andrews to try and steal. There she goes. Kowalik's throw. Looked like it hit Andrews and kicked away. And Aaliyah is going back. Did she leave early? Yeah, she was called out for leaving the base early. So Andrews is out. A little bit too quick with her release from first base. But LSU gets 2 more. Morgan Cummins with a home run, the second of the game for the Bayou Bengals, who lead by 3. For LSU, midway through the third, it has been a wildly entertaining series over the last several seasons, LSU and Kentucky. This is one of the most notable. Allie Wald-Jasper hurling it, fielding her position in the snow in late March of 2015, a game that Beth Torina remembers very well. It was a 3-1 Kentucky win. And this is a series that was dominated by LSU when Kentucky started softball. LSU won the first 19, 28 of the first 29, led 40-7. Before that year, 2015, right around the snow game, fortunes turned around, and Kentucky has actually won 9 of the last 11 games between these schools.
There's always something. I mean, even in this game and series, think about all the home runs that have been hit, right? Like, we've already started to pile up the home runs. I think that there have been 8 already, and we're not even halfway through game 2. We had rain yesterday. It's always one thing after another, especially, Kevin, when you're in Lexington.
Yeah, I don't feel confident for 1 second that 5 is necessarily going to be enough the way these two teams swing it. It was 5-2 on Friday in the 5th inning, and then Kentucky scored 5 to take the lead for good. Try to start a rally here with Riley Smith batting in the number 9 spot. 330 hitter, 385 on base, and look who's on deck. Kayla Kowalik with a home run to start for Kentucky. Extended her school record hit streak to 23. Called strike 2 from Shelby Sinceri to Smith.
Well, and talking about Lexington and just good luck on Kentucky's part, bad luck on LSU, just kind of their kryptonite. Kentucky is 8-1 in their last 9 home games against LSU, going back to the 2012 season.
The crop has been a house of horrors for the Tigers. Trying to take game 1 of a doubleheader here as Smith bounces out to first to end the home third, or to start the home third. Hey, today 4 Eastern over on ESPN News. This is a big one in the SEC. Number 19 Missouri and number 6 Arkansas. They'll play the series finale Monday at 7 Eastern on SEC Network. Missouri won yesterday. Arkansas is in first place in the SEC, a game in the loss column and a few games in the win column, up on Florida. The last time a team other than Alabama or Florida won the SEC regular season championship, 2007. The Razorbacks have a chance to do that. And Kayla Kowalik is on base again after a home run in the first, a single in the third.
Just able to run through the box this time, gets the end of her bat, able to find a hole in front of Aaliyah Andrews, which the amount of ground that she covers out there in center field doesn't happen all too often. But Kevin, I wanted to hit on that Missouri-Arkansas series, and what a tremendous series. I think we still have a couple more games left in that one. Back and forth, Missouri now in third place in the SEC standings. And don't look now, but Missouri has a real shot, I think, in contention of an SEC championship with the way that they play Arkansas, and also I believe will end up playing Florida coming up too. So if they take care of their business and win some games with that great offense that they have, they could find themselves up at the top.
Tatum Spangler on the ground and through. Base hit, Spangler. Kowalik didn't even hesitate. She goes first to third. Spangler is at second and the ball gets away. Kowalik will score. Back to second, and Spangler is safe again at second base, nearly caught leaning in both directions. A mad dash home for Kowalik.
This is what the speed of Kayla Kowalik can do. She starts at first base, and Spangler is able to get a hit up the middle of the field and then ends up at second base. But kind of a chaotic play. Spangler hits it toward the right side of the field, but speed of Kowalik is able to go first to third so easily. Spangler into second, and then a bobble is going to score Kowalik.
So it'll be an error against Doyle, the third baseman, an E5 to score Kowalik. Strike one into Lauren Johnson. The single by Spangler. She goes to second on the throw. Kowalik scores on the error by Doyle, her 6th. No RBI on the play, but Kentucky is within a pair and still threatening with the number 3 hitter Johnson. 1 ball, 1 strike. If you look up chaos theory in the dictionary, it's just a picture of LSU Kentucky softball. My gosh, these games are weird.
Yeah, every time.
And the SEC records here are 8-8, 7-9. Those are mediocre conference records, but the rankings are notable here. These are teams playing in the middle of the deepest conference in America. They're deserving of top 15 rankings. I mean, these are two teams that could finish around 500 in the conference, maybe below 500. And would it shock anybody if either of them made the World Series? Probably not.
Yeah, definitely. They have such great coaches, too. They'll coach them up to be able to get there to play their best ball, and the end of May, beginning of June, to be able to make it there. But they could surprise some people in the postseason. They're not going to be a top 8 seed, but they definitely could make a run with how well coached they are and the talent that they have and the offenses and deep pitching staffs if they get hot.
(3-2) Sinceri to Johnson. Went off speed. Johnson pops it up. And the shortstop Pleasance will make the play for route number 2. We're going to find out this week the 20 schools that are in the batch of potential regional hosts this year. Regional and super regional hosts are being predetermined because sites need to be ready for COVID protocol. Both these schools have submitted bids. And these are important games this weekend because while it may not be a traditional top 16 teams necessarily getting to host, theoretically, if one of these teams, Kentucky or LSU, dips a little bit below the top 16, top 20, the other one rises, in theory that would make that team's hosting case better still.
Yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see how this ends up shaking out, because I still think so much is to be determined for the predetermined sites about how they're going to pick them, how they're going to release them, how we're going to be able to find out. It's just so much unknown still, and an entire year of unknown and things changing last minute.
I mean, again, this is so new for us. Maybe there's a scenario, and we're just hypothetically speaking because we don't know. Maybe Louisiana, Lafayette, and LSU are close. Maybe Louisiana has a little bit of a better resume. Maybe they're a host and LSU goes there to slow down geography. You never know. As this one is fouled away 2-2, how much is the NCAA going to go truly 1 through 16? How much are they going to try to be as geographically true as possible? Maybe that dings a team like LSU from what would be a seed in order to keep them somewhere closer and keep a couple of other teams closer. There are just so many variables in play, and the better you play these next couple of weekends, in theory, the better your chances are. Don't want to leave anything up to chance as much as you can. Pleasance with a good throw and a nice pick at first by Gutierrez. And Caulfield is retired to end the inning, but Kentucky gets one more on this absolute madness.
Tatum Spangler gets a hit, and then it was just a little bit of chaos after that, but the speed of Kowalik scores from first base to give Kentucky another run.
You're watching the SEC on ESPN from Lexington. Kevin Brown, Amanda Scarborough alongside. Beth Torina's Tigers have a 5-3 lead in Game 2 of this series. Game 2 and Game 3 have been kind to Beth's bunch. They have a losing record in 3-game series this year in Game 1. And they lost Game 1 on Friday, 7-5. Doubleheader today, so Games 2 and 3 will be played back-to-back. There is strike 1 to Sierra Briggs. We asked Beth about that and said, what do you think the reasoning is behind this? She said, well, we don't have the time on this call to psychologically dive all the way in, but I'll give you some theories. Maybe we're a little bit too mechanical heading into a weekend. Maybe we get a little bit more free as the weekend goes on. And part of that is she thinks the time LSU's hitters have spent in small groups because of COVID protocols feels like they've gotten away from the way they used to function this offense. Small groups means more mechanical drills, and she thinks the approach is a little too mechanical and a little less free-flowing at the start of 3-game series.
Yeah, and it could be that. They're still trying to figure it out. I think they spend a lot of time as a coaching staff theorizing and just trying to throw things on the wall and see if it's going to stick and just try it out. But one thing that I know, and I think that Beth Torina told us the same thing, is that they're capable of playing a really great game, of being a really, really great team. And I go back to the fact that they have the #1 strength of schedule. So they've played some extremely tough opponents, playing Texas, they played Alabama out of conference, and a lot of that had to do with some games being scheduled last minute because of some COVID cancellations. They picked up some last minute games. They weren't supposed to have this hard of a schedule, but she's not going to be one to turn down a game against a ranked opponent or turn down a game in general on a weekend. So they ended up having that #1 strength of schedule, and I think that it's #1 by a long shot.
It's in part because some of the Power 5 teams were more able to travel and adapt early season pre-conference than some of the mid-major, low-major teams. Texas, Liberty, Alabama, technically non-conference early in the year, Duke, Louisiana, Oklahoma State. I mean, it's just there's almost no time to take a breath if you're an LSU player this year. Briggs Off the end of the bat to shortstop and thrown out there by Erin Koffel.
Well, and she reminded us, too, that this is a really young team. And a lot of these players who were freshmen last year, like a Sierra Briggs, like a Taylor Pleasance, they've not played an entire SEC season either. And that's a true thing to go through if you are a college softball player and you play in the SEC, to go through a conference experience of playing the same team multiple times, playing against some of the best talent in the country. It's hard. It can be a grind on you mentally and physically.
A lot of hype coming into the season. They were 21-3 in the shortened year last year, finished number 5, but that was before almost any SEC play. Taylor Pleasance, 3-run home run in the first, a walk in the second, and a ball and a strike to her here from Grace Ballman.
Well, and we asked Coach Stringa, too, how are you keeping them confident after just some tough losses, some really hard games? She says continue to remind them that this isn't the year that somebody's going to hit 400 or have a sub-1 ERA. It's just not going to happen this year. And she said 5 regular everyday players on their team have never been through an SEC season. It's a lot.
This is one of them in Pleasance. And she skewers one to shortstop. Grabbed by Koffel for out number 2. For the 42nd consecutive year, the NFL Draft is back on ESPN. It's also on the NFL Network and with the Game Day crew on ABC from the college perspective. It all starts this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All 3 days are also on ESPN Deportes, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. Georgia Clark, the cleanup batter, with 2 down. Takes ball 1. Two plate appearances, 2 walks for Clark in the game. Only 22 hits out of 103 at-bats, but she has 19 walks. Good on-base percentage. First trip against Ballman, Clark walked on a 10-pitch battle. And this one is put in play to third. And Clark is thrown out by Stoddard. A 1-2-3 inning. The first of the game. It comes from Grace Ballman. Renee Abernathy leads off for Kentucky in the bottom of the 4th. Had a great night on Friday, hit a go-ahead grand slam. It's a Kentucky offense that top to bottom has been really good this year. Feasted in non-conference play. They went 23-1 there, and Abernathy had the biggest hit of their game Friday night.
Yeah, we've seen her opposite field power, and not just off of her bat, but throughout this Kentucky lineup. And that beautiful grand slam, and then that diving catch, too, in the 7th inning. Close game.
Out of Springfield, Illinois, Abernathy. She's ground out, induced by Shelby Sinceri here in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, you mentioned how she's moved around the batting order, and that's one thing that Coach Lawson had talked about, of not feeling like this team had peaked yet or found their identity yet. But most importantly, she said, we've got to find a lineup that we can stick with. We're really trying to solidify that, and we'll see how that ends up panning out. I think they like what they have in this lineup today with Kowalik, Spangler, Johnson, Koffel, Abernathy.
And then you have Mallory Payton batting the 6th spot. He's homered in back-to-back games. A little bit better at the top of the lineup. A little more depth has allowed them to drop Payton as she recovers from being hit in the hand a few weeks ago against Alabama.
Yeah, and she talked about that injury, of how it just really threw them for a loop, that Mallory Payton had been an anchor for them. See that she wears the C on her uniform for captain.
11 home runs last season, was leading the country at the time of the shutdown. Peyton has now hit 9 this year, and Kentucky's hit 66 as a team, tied for second most in the SEC coming into the day. Sinceri's pitch grounded off of Peyton, foul for strike 2.
Self-inflicted pain there, hit it off her front foot.
Sinceri has not struck out a batter in this game. Neither has she walked a batter. Everybody's put it in play outside of the 2 home runs who put it out of play. And the count 3-2 now against Mallory Peyton. Only the 4th full count of the game for a Kentucky batter. First 3 to get to a full count, by the way, all made an out. And Peyton will jar it foul.
It goes back to that drop ball that we're seeing Sinceri throw, also being able to mix speeds a bit. But a lot of ground ball outs. As you mentioned, no strikeouts. But I really like that drop ball that she throws, and she is capable of throwing a variety of pitches, but I love that drop. Like that.
There's the first strikeout. It comes against Peyton here in the 4th.
To me, it's the pitch that she goes to that has the most confidence in it. She can throw it for a chase pitch, great down break to it. Started at the knees and then just fell off the table right there in the inside corner. It's so hard for a righty to be able to get their barrel to that pitch.
Here's Ballman with 2 down. And that pitch zips in for strike 1. Thought it was interesting to hear about Beth Torina's view on Shelby Sinceri. Said there are a couple of adjustments I've been trying to make with her for 2 years in practice. Early in the season, she was throwing harder, but her timing was off. And while it seemed weird to slow her down, Beth thinks that Sinceri is using the ground a little more with her front side, creating some more break. And what do you see? What are you noticing from Shelby Sinceri in terms of her timing?
She's grown every single year that she has been at LSU and been able just to get better and better and better in the circle. See her trying to mix speeds there, and that's, I wouldn't even call that a waste pitch. It's a more competitive pitch. It missed a little bit down and more off the plate, but I love the way that she's able to kind of tunnel that off-speed pitch that she just threw there, and also her drop ball too.
Did she go? Ballman did not. 3-2.
Ballman's so tall that maybe would be a strike against a different hitter, but got her below the knee. Good pitch though.
Towering presence, the opposing pitcher, Ballman. On a 3-2, she takes inside. So Sinceri goes from no strikeouts and no walks to a strikeout followed by a walk here in the 4th. And the bat of Miranda Stoddard is scheduled to come up. And it looks like Rachel Lawson is going to send Emmy Blaine to the plate instead, 25 for Kentucky. Blaine has been playing second base, flex position where you can play the field, not have to bat, but now Blaine will bat for Kentucky for the first time. Just 1 for 22 on the year. Emmy Blaine does have 4 walks. Well, if you're going to get hit number 2, this is as good a spot as any. Blaine pops it up. And they're getting over on a pop out to Pleasance. Sunseri's first scoreless inning after 3 straight runs in innings for Kentucky. Tigers by 2 after 4. We had a scoreless 4th inning. Didn't know that was possible. 5 out of the 6 half innings in this game have featured a run to start. Taylor Pleasance, the biggest hit, a 3-run home run in the first. Kayla Kowalik answered. Then Mallory Payton, a solo shot in the second. And finally, Morgan Cummins, a home run for the second straight day. That made it 5-2. Kentucky's gotten one back. It's 5-3, but there have been 4 home runs hit for the second straight game. Kentucky is 7-5 winner in game 1 of this series. Today, this is game 1 of 2 in a doubleheader. And it's the Tigers in front. Shelby Sunseri has been solid while Tatum Spangler started the game, did not record an out for Kentucky.
How about the fact that all 10 of the runs that LSU have scored in this series have been via the long ball?
You like that as a coach? Is that okay that it's all or nothing approach this late into the year? I mean, I guess if you get 10, it's good. As that one is just fouled from Gutierrez, strike 2.
I think you want wins. So
however
they're going to come. And especially, too, this is a good LSU offense with a lot of home run potential, though Kentucky has hit more home runs than them this season. LSU has hit 47 coming into this game. Kentucky had hit 64 coming into this game. So I think you just want your team to feel free or swing it freely like Coach Serena talked about. And if it comes via the long ball, let's go. Let's win that way.
1-2 for Ray Gutierrez, 5-6-7. Gutierrez, Doyle, Sunseri due up for LSU here in the 5th. Gutierrez has walked. She also bounced into a 1-2-3 double play with the bases loaded, 1 out in the second. That one is just out of the reach of Kowalik. They made Ballman and Spangler work. LSU batters have. They've fouled away 19 pitches in the first 4 innings, plus this batter. Driving the pitch count up. Scored 5, left 5 on base. Gutierrez yanks it foul. These teams smack dab in the middle of the SEC right now. LSU a game up on Kentucky. SEC tournament in a couple of weeks in Tuscaloosa, fighting for seeding. Not just seeding in the SEC tournament, but again, we're expected this week to hear the announcement of the 20 potential regional host sites. Those will be pared down to 16 on Selection Sunday. Predetermined sites this year because every region needs to pass a set of COVID guidelines. Gutierrez checks her swing. Did she go? No, according to the third base umpire, Meyer. Gutierrez has her second walk, LSU's 6th of the game. Tonight, Sunday Night Baseball, the Dodgers and Padres close out a 4-game series at Dodger Stadium. Padres have won the first 2 of 4 in this series. Dodgers last night. LA won 2 of 3 last weekend at San Diego. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern, ESPN and the ESPN app with Baseball Tonight Sunday Night Countdown. An alternative StatCast edition available on ESPN2. Ball 1 to Amanda Doyle, number 6 hitter for LSU. Here comes Rachel Lawson.
Just a 2-run game. Kentucky being down 5-3, but I don't know what it is. To me, it feels like Kentucky's been down a little bit more than that. It feels like LSU was really just dominated and stayed in control of this game.
And it was 3-0 right out of the chute, so LSU has led just about from the get-go, but this is the inning where Kentucky did damage on Friday. Scored 5 runs in the bottom of the 5th to make it 7-5. By the way, you see the DG on the side of the LSU helmets there. We want to send our best to the entire Gorsuch family watching back in Texas. Mary Beth Gorsuch, a tremendous pitcher for LSU. That's her father, Doug, who passed away about a week and a half ago. And an enormous loss for that family and really for the whole LSU community. Doug passed away last Thursday, the 15th, in Louisville, Texas. Beth Torina told us, actually, the team was chartering the flight to Kentucky. They were going to go fly to Dallas first and spend some time with Maribeth earlier in the week. And Beth said he was not the kind of guy you missed. I don't know that I know a player and a dad who were closer than Doug and Maribeth. So to all of the folks who were related to Doug Gorsuch or maybe just felt like they were related to him, we're certainly sending our best thoughts and wishes.
Yeah, well said, Kevin. And it's a hard thing for the Gorsuch family, but of course the entire LSU family too, the entire team, just feeling him being missed. And I think it's such a cool sign of respect. Those stickers that you mentioned with the DG, NC State actually had those made for LSU last weekend whenever they played in North Carolina, having just found out whenever they landed that Doug had passed. NC State went over and beyond to make those for them.
Beth said, Doug used to tell me I called too many curves and not enough rises. So last Saturday in the game against NC State, Allie Kilponen had a really good rise. And she said, Mary Beth texted and said, hey, Dad would have loved that. The rise ball was really working for LSU last Saturday. Base hit by Doyle is going to lead to a pitching change here. Grace Ballman in the dugout. Kentucky will go to Miranda Stoddard, the third Wildcats pitcher of the game. LSU trying to tack on to a 5-3 lead when we return. Grace Ballman came into a pretty precarious situation in the first, so all things considered, she threw well. Came in with 2 out, nobody on, 3 runs in the first inning, got out of that jam. Gave up a 2-run home run in the third inning. The walks were an issue. She leaves in the 5th. And Miranda Stoddard, Amanda, will take over for Kentucky.
And she's going to be a little bit more lower in the zone, 64 to 66 miles an hour, so mid-60s she'll throw. There are actually 7 different pitchers for Kentucky who have seen time this year, so not a ton of complete games that they've had. In fact, Autumn Humes has thrown the most innings. She pitched game 1, 115 innings, and 8 complete games by Humes, but oftentimes these are complete pitching staff.
That one is fair. Down the left field line from Sinceri to bring home Gutierrez. Doyle gets the stop sign at third, and Shelby Sinceri greets the new pitcher Stoddard with a ringing run-scoring double.
This is what Shelby Sinceri is capable of, being able to get her hands to an inside pitch, just drill it down the line. Barely staying fair, but doesn't matter as long as it is fair. It's going to be able to score a run, and LSU just continuing to look good on offense.
Sinceri's 4th double of the year, her 12th extra base hit. She helps out her own cause in the circle. And now Morgan Cummins. By the way, Kentucky has overhauled its defense with this change. Abby Blaine's over at third. Lauren Johnson's playing second. The outfield is now Abernathy in left, Spangler in center, Smith in right. Only players who have remained in the same spot throughout the game. Caulfield at short, Payton at first, Kowalik catching. And it didn't matter where any of them were playing the last time Morgan Cummins came to the plate. 2-run home run launched the other way back in the third. Her 2nd home run of the series after hitting just 2 to start the year in the first 29 games. If LSU can find the extra base power that Morgan Cummins had in the short season last year, it would fill out this lineup in a major, major way. Cummins into center field. Spangler is there for the catch. She'll throw to third, and Doyle tags and scores. Morgan Cummins with a sacrifice fly. LSU scored 2 in the inning at 7-3.
Good job of execution by Cummins just to be able to lift a ball to the outfield. Runner at third base, less than 2 outs. Sacrifice fly is going to be able to score Doyle from third base, and another RBI for Cummins. Kevin, you really look at this LSU lineup and you see Doyle in the 6th spot, Sinceri in the 7, and Cummins in the 8. You see so much talent in this lineup. Not necessarily with the stats and the numbers just yet, but so much potential for this to be a really deep lineup for the Tigers.
Bettorina wants time. Batter is Taryn Antoine right now, her second at bat. I think Sinceri is going to leave for a pinch runner, looks like. Well, so earlier in the game, you made note of Rachel Lawson saying she thinks Kentucky is still trying to find its identity. There's the pinch runner, Anna Jones. Do you feel the same way about LSU?
Yeah, I would say so. And you can, I just can't stress it enough. This LSU offense could be so talented and put up really big numbers, like an Arkansas type number of 80+ home runs. Just haven't done it yet. It's because they faced extremely tough pitching.
Antoine takes a strike. You think so? You think they could be that good, LSU?
I really do. Pleasance could hit double-digit home runs. Clark, Doyle, Sinceri, Cummins, those are all players who are capable of hitting 10+ home runs in a season. Whenever they're feeling good at the plate, they're capable of it.
Antoine, a slow roller. She's got speed, but she is thrown out by the new second baseman, Johnson. Pinch runner Jones goes to third on out number 2.
Johnson gets pulled up the middle of the field, and with every step that she takes up the middle of the field, Antoine has a chance of making that an infield single. Good play by her and a quick release to get the ball to first base.
Now Andrews. And it's important to get a runner to third base because Andrews is liable to just chop one into the ground and score the runner from third. Bunt single, an infield single, and she was hit by a 3-2 pitch. It's been on base every time. She is behind 0-2 here against Miranda Stoddard, the new Kentucky pitcher. Left side, and that's foul. Jones got tangled up with, looked like the third baseman, Blaine.
Yeah, I think Kentucky fans are wanting an interference call there on the base runner. Thinking that she could have attempted to make a play on that ball.
Andrews on the ground at shortstop, gotta hurry. She's out. Oh, Koppel by a razor's edge gets the call at first. And LSU strands 1 but scores 2 here in the 5th. It's 7-3. Leah Andrews has been involved in a couple of close calls today. A stolen base went her way in the first. This ground ball did not to end the 5th. Would have scored a run. And you be the judge. Was she out or safe?
I don't think it gets much closer than that. That is so close.
The call was out. I mean, you could watch that play 100 different times and you might think she was safe 50 and out 50. But either way, even Stevens kind of day. She gets the steal in the first. She's out here in the fifth. And LSU does not score that third run, but they do get two. Shelby Sinceri with a big RBI double in the middle of it all, and she's back in the circle for the fifth. Riley Smith, the number 9 hitter. Kayla Kowalik, Tatum Spangler will follow as Smith takes strike one. 4 innings, 2 earned runs for Sinceri. What have you thought of her in the circle?
I think that she's been strong. She's thrown a lot of strikes, not giving up a ton of free passes, and that has really helped her. Only 1 walk that she's thrown in this game, or that she's given up in this game. So I love the way that she's been able to stay down in the zone and work that drop ball and change speeds and throw a lot of strikes.
Smith pops it up to the net for strike 2. Riley Smith a ground out to first in her only at bat. Kentucky has only left 2 runners on base. 2 of their runs scored on solo home runs. So their at-bats have been relatively quick. Smith elevates into right field, and that will fall in for a hit. She'll go for 2. Riley Smith is into second, and she will hold up there as the play is backed up by the left fielder Briggs. A leadoff double to kickstart Kentucky's 5th. Hey, for the 42nd straight year, the NFL Draft returns to ESPN. It's also on the NFL Network, and the Game Day crew are on ABC to cover it from the college perspective. This Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Friday and Saturday, a lot more than just at night. All-day affair Saturday. They're all on ESPN Deportes, ESPN Radio, and the app as well. So here is Kayla Kowalik. Came into the game the nation's leader in hits with 79. She now has 81. A home run in the first, a single in the third. Her hit streak at a school record 23. Kowalik lays down a bunt, and Sinceri will get her at first. So a huge first out as Kowalik, batting at .527 coming into the game, is out on a bunt.
And the best batting average in the nation. It's a big out, but also this is, you feel it in the game, how this is a really big opportunity for Kentucky. They got their leadoff on at the top of their order late in this game, down by 4 runs. You feel like Kentucky needs to score in this inning to be able to stick around in this game.
Yeah, especially with this part of the order up. Spangler now, Johnson to follow. This was the inning where Kentucky did the damage on Friday night. They scored 5 runs in the bottom of the 5th, turned a 5-2 deficit into a 7-5 lead. Scored a sacrifice bunt 1-4 for Kowalik. Smith over to third. Tatum Spangler, who started the game as the pitcher, 1 for 2. Spangler drives one to center. Andrews makes the catch. Smith will tag and score. A sacrifice bunt, a sacrifice fly, and Kentucky gets one back at 7-4.
It's good execution, and while it's not a grand slam or a 2-run home run, it at least makes you feel like, all right, we scored 1, we're chipping away at the lead late in this game, and we're getting something out of getting our leadoff hitter on. Just deep enough, Tatum Spangler drives the ball to center field to score Riley Smith for the 4th run.
Batter is Lauren Johnson. 2 down, nobody on. Kentucky has now scored a run in 4 out of the 5 innings. LSU has scored in 3 innings, but they've all been crooked numbers. 3 in the first, 2 in the third, 2 here in the 5th.
She's throwing that changeup a lot, too, being able to bringing it on the knees and hit a corner whenever she needs a strike, and she can throw it for a strike, but also being able to throw it for more of a chase pitch to get some down bite on it. It's been a pitch that she's really been leaning on past couple of innings.
On 2-1, Johnson rolls it over to second base, and Tidwell makes the play. Final three recorded after the leadoff double. Smith does score, but LSU leads going into the sixth in game one.
I don't think we talk about Kayla Kowalik enough at all. I don't even think if we've talked about her. How far can you go with a one-headed monster?
They gave every other team hope that they can beat Oklahoma.
Too many benevolent balls, too many walks.
If you're intimidated, you're done.
Amanda, if you strike me out once, you're not going to do it again.
Yeah, Beth Mons was trying to hype up the pay-per-view Scarborough versus Bro matchup after a mailbag question. I don't think it was ever resolved on the podcast. But if you want to trash talk Kayla here, you can. Kayla's on the call of the game after us, Georgia, Tennessee. I mean, if you want to set the stage is all yours, Amanda. Could you strike out Kayla?
Obviously, I would strike her out, Kevin.
Okay, great. That's what we want.
I love when you can trash talk and then you don't even have to back it up, so it's just all hypothetical. So yeah, I'd strike her out.
Exactly. Best kind of trash talk. Kayla is with Courtney Lau. Should be a fabulous next game. Georgia and Tennessee, two top 25 teams in the SEC. The first voice we heard on that promo, our good friend Jen Schroeder, saying, I don't think we talk about Kayla Kowalik enough. And just so happens that we have Kayla Kowalik in this here game catching for Kentucky. She's 2 for 2 with a home run and a sac bunt. There she is. SEC Player of the Year looks like either Kayla or Braxton Burnside of Arkansas right now. Certainly anything could change the last couple of weekends, but you think it's between those two for the top prize at the moment?
Yeah, I really do. Coach Lawson calling Kowalik a rare talent. And just how well she knows the game, studies the game. Even at a young age, Coach Lawson was talking to us about the fact that Kowalik was 13 going on 27. Just studies the game and is able to adjust, has a great mind.
It's a unique combination of skills because she's learned how to read the field as a slapper. She's learned how to read the game as a catcher, but now she's added power. So a 12 home run player who can slap and who has that kind of innate feel doesn't come along very often. And the results are coming into the day, 527 with a 569 on base. And oh, by the way, 18 for 19 steals. Hey, Sunday Night Baseball tonight. What a series this is. What a treat for us that we get the Padres and Dodgers for the second straight weekend. From Chavez Ravine, Pods trying to win the series. Dodgers trying to even it up after LA won 2 out of 3 at Petco last weekend. Baseball tonight, Sunday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern, 5 Central on ESPN and the ESPN app. The game starts at 7 Eastern. One out, Taylor Pleasance the batter after Sierra Briggs struck out against Miranda Stoddard, the third Kentucky pitcher this game. This is game one of a doubleheader, and game two will start about 30 minutes after game one. That game will be on the SEC Network Plus.
You know, we talked about SEC Player of the Year potentially being between Burnside and Kowalik, but also I think of SEC Freshman of the Year and how many talented freshmen there are in the SEC. You have Aaron Koffel at Kentucky, Shelby Lowe, a tremendous left-handed pitcher at Auburn, and then also Jenna Laird, who plays shortstop for Missouri, who is a really talented player too.
Every SEC award seems up for grabs right now because SEC Pitcher of the Year, you could talk about Elizabeth Hightower at Florida, Mary Half at Arkansas. Montana Fouts at Alabama, Ashley Rogers at Tennessee. There are even more names we could get into as Pleasance sends one into left field for a base hit. Her third time on base in 4 trips. All right, that Georgia-Tennessee game, mentioned Ashley Rogers. Mary Wilson-Avant's been phenomenal for Georgia as well. That game is obviously not going to start on ESPN2. We're not going to be finished in the next minute. So that is going to start on ESPN News if you're looking for Georgia-Tennessee. Coming up in 1 minute, and then Washington and UCLA, numbers 4 and 2 in the country, right here on ESPN2. After that, UCLA won the first game. Washington won the first of 2 yesterday, the Pac-12 game in the doubleheader, and a pivotal 4th game between the Huskies and Bruins today.
Yeah, looking forward to this game being done. Well, not looking forward to it being done, but I'm looking forward to softball being on.
If you want to
for the
leave,
rest
Amanda,
of the day.
fine. I'll do the last 2 innings myself if I have to.
I was about to say that. I was like, this sounds bad, and I don't really at all mean for it to. But yeah, in that UCLA-Washington game, potential Gabby Plain, Rachel Garcia matchup, which is a big headliner. Gabby Plain came into the series undefeated. I think she was 23-0. Got her first loss of the season this weekend.
Took it on Friday night, took it on the chin from UCLA's bats. Bruins trying to win the series, maintain their grasp on the number 2 spot in the country behind only Oklahoma. Of course, the big story earlier this week, the Sooners' 40-game win streak upended at Georgia. 2-2 for Georgia Clark, and a line drive into left field. Clark has a single. She has singled once and walked twice in 4 trips. Pleasance goes to second, and the Tigers are back in business in the 6th.
You mentioned that Oklahoma-Georgia doubleheader in which Georgia snapped the 40-game win streak. I kind of deem this upset week, Kevin. There's been a lot of upsets all across the country, and even not just a quote-unquote upset where a ranked Missouri beats a ranked Arkansas. I mean unranked teams beating ranked teams. It's been interesting this week. A lot of drama.
Ball 1 to Gutierrez. We had another upset win just about 20 minutes ago. Notre Dame finished a 4-game sweep at Virginia Tech.
Wow.
13th in the country. Here in the SEC, South Carolina's 3rd win of the year came at Florida.
Yeah, and almost all of the top 10 teams have taken a loss this weekend. A couple of them didn't play as many games, like Oklahoma State didn't play as many games.
Does that tell you anything? All the unsettled softball we've seen this week, or is it just one of those weeks?
I think both. I think there is going to be more parity in the postseason, one, but I also think...
There's a ground ball from Gutierrez, and Koffel will get 1 to the second baseman, Johnson. That's it.
I also think that there's a time every year where teams are just a little bit more tired. Great job by Aaron Koffel, just playing more up the middle, being able to get a force out, keep a runner out of scoring position in that situation. And I think because you've played so many games up to this point, Kentucky has played 42 games, LSU has also played over 40 games, you just there's like a little bit of a lull with teams, and then it's like you get through it and you pick it back up.
Amanda Doyle through the left side, a base hit. Doyle with back-to-back singles, and this scores Pleasance to make it 8-4.
Doyle with the open stance, able to sit back. I think that was a off-speed pitch. He's able to recognize it. It's more up in the zone and get on time with it to be able to push across another run for LSU, who just is continuing to score in almost every inning.
And strike 1 to Sinceri. Great to see Doyle back in the LSU lineup. Missed the last 2 games against NC State with a minor injury. First time she had not started at third base in 213 games. Doyle 2 for 4 with an RBI. LSU up and down the lineup has found contributions, including from Sinceri, the batter here, who's walked and also doubled in a run last inning. Sinceri elevates into left field. Abernathy in front of the wall. She can't make the play. That is in play to score 2 runs. Sinceri stops at second, and it's 10-4.
Sinceri drove the ball well in her last at bat, and in this one too. I thought this was just going to continue to carry and carry and carry. Abernathy out there in left field. She didn't track it back. I think it is a little bit windy there too. Looking at the flags right now, they're blowing straight out, but played it more toward the left side. Ended up fading more back toward that left center field gap and just not played very well. Could have been the last out of the inning.
It is a 2-run double. It comes one night after we saw Abernathy make a brilliant catch in the 7th inning, a diving play in center field. She certainly got to the ball here, and again, we're not there. We're looking at the wind, and it does appear to be a little bit twisty. Maybe some kind of a haze. The sunglasses are on, even though it looks cloudy. Either way, Sinceri has back-to-back doubles in back-to-back innings, maybe aided by the gusts there, and she has driven in 3 runs.
It does look cold there, doesn't it? Look at how these fans
Look at the guy in the blankets right there.
Cold just looking at it.
Close pitch, didn't get it. 2-2. 2-1, beg your pardon, for Morgan Cummins. Hit by pitch, home run, sac fly. Heck of a game in the 8th spot.
You know, it's 2 Eastern. I think I heard a helicopter go over the field. Again, we're not there. We don't know, but you can just base it off of the sounds. But that's the volleyball welcome home party was supposed to be going on at 2 Eastern, winning the national championship last night, the first ever national championship for volleyball in SEC history. Kentucky bringing it.
Beat Texas 3-1. Amazing moment. And that was a statistic I didn't believe when you told me earlier, that the SEC would not have a national championship in any sport, but there you go. Kentucky defeating Texas. Allie Stumbler with a game-winning kill, one of her 26 in the game. Congratulations to Kentucky for bringing home yet another national championship, their first ever in women's volleyball.
And I think that Madison Lilly just had, what a year. I think she won every award that you can possibly win, including National Player of the Year.
53 assists in the championship match. And it was fouled away by Morgan Cummins.
And Chris Scholes, who's normally here, the Kentucky SID, is actually the volleyball SID too, so got to be a part of that national championship experience and is on his way home, so congrats to him as well.
I'm glad you brought that up, because this is a year where the SIDs, the sports information directors, essentially the media relations folks at every school, have had more on their plate than ever before. And Chris did an awesome job getting us set with everything this week while he was in the middle of preparing for the national championship Final Four in Omaha, Nebraska. Bouncer to first is going to be in time to get Cummins. It was not a clean handle and release by Koffel, but it got the job done. Another crooked number, though, for LSU, a 3-run 6th, and this was the big hit. Amanda Doyle with an RBI single, and then Shelby Sinceri doubles in 2. It's all Tigers in Lexington. What a rebound this has been from a game-1 loss for LSU. 10 runs on 11 hits, a couple of home runs early. The first 5 runs on homers. The next 5 have come on other things, and LSU's got the lead in game 2 of 3 in Lexington. Kevin Brown, Amanda Scarborough back with you. You said a couple of innings ago that you think this LSU offense has the talent to be at an Arkansas-type level. They're certainly not there statistically, but I think we're beginning to see in this series the potential for the Tigers.
Yeah, I really love the way that their lineup can lay out with speed at the top and at the bottom and power potential all throughout the middle. I just don't think that we've seen it up to this point, quite the power that LSU has and so much talent, Kevin. I really think this is a lineup that I wouldn't want to see come in the postseason.
Yeah, don't let that record deceive you. 8-8 in the SEC, #1 strength of schedule overall. So the RPI right now is a top 5 RPI despite a 26-15 record. And it's a team that wouldn't surprise anybody to play its best softball come the months of May and June.
Yeah, and it almost seems like, too, talented teams sometimes hit that extra level, that different level whenever the third season starts. I call it the third season. Whenever the postseason starts, you have your non-conference season, your conference season, and then the postseason. You feel it as a player. You actually do. You get excited for that first game that is going to be a non-conference schedule back in February. That feels new, an adrenaline rush, and then you get another new season that starts with conference games. And then when the postseason hits, it's just a different level. And athletes are able to step up and do incredible things and take their team potentially to the World Series.
Ground ball from Koffel back to Sinceri and one away. I guess the other question, we look at Shelby Sinceri. What's that pitching staff going to look like for LSU down the stretch? Ali Kilponen has been sensational this year, 1.73 ERA. Sinceri, their #2 starter. Shelby Wickersham has been up and down, mostly good. Mary Beth Gorsuch had a great career, a little bit down this year, away from the team. Right now, you expect her experience to play a big part down the stretch as well. Who are going to be those pitchers that step forward? Who takes the reins in the circle for LSU down the stretch? They certainly may not know the answer, but they have several options.
Yeah, and I feel like Kilponen has thrown very well. She's thrown the most innings coming into this game out of anybody on the staff. Her and Sinceri are just right there neck and neck, kind of becoming co-aces. When last year, whenever we saw them pitch, they had the #1 ERA in the country when the season ended last year. Really, all 4 pitchers had an even amount of innings. She used them equally, but to me, it's been Sinceri and Kilponen who have just kind of risen to the top to take the bulk.
Second team All-SEC 2 years ago. Off speed to get strike 2 over on Renee Abernathy. Abernathy had a grand slam on Friday. Great diving catch in the 7th. 0-2 today, though. She is out in front of this one. On the ground to second. And a hard throw from the second baseman, Tidwell, for out #2. Sunshine is back. Beautiful sight. With another 7 innings to play after this. And again, Game 2 will be on SEC Network Plus. Still bundled up, though.
They just had snow on the ground a couple of days ago. Wild.
Oh. Getting a little power nap in the 6th inning there, bud.
Everybody needs a power nap in the 6th inning.
Peyton off the end of the bat. And a 1-2-3 6th inning for Shelby Sinceri, who has settled into the game nicely. 3 outs to go for LSU to even up this series in Lexington. Welcome back to Lexington. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Kevin Brown, Amanda Scarborough, our Lexington-based crew with you on a Sunday afternoon. LSU leads Kentucky 10-4. The Wildcats go back to the bullpen. Sloan Gahan, little used this year, only the 5th appearance of the season for Gahan, and she will try to get some outs with Rachel Lawson knowing there's one more game left to play today. Doesn't want to burn another pitcher, doesn't want to give Stoddard another inning. She'll let Gahan get some experience in the circle in a 10-4 game. Seven innings for Sloan this year. She's allowed 9 hits, 8 earned runs, walked 3, struck out 5. Taryn Antoine leads it off in the 9th spot. Swings through strike 1. That's the 154th pitch thrown by Kentucky in the game. Their 4 pitchers have thrown 154. Sinceri has only thrown 90. Our esteemed statistical mind, the John Nash of this show, Mike Notaro, has the time of possession, or the time of batting, at 71 minutes for LSU, 37 minutes for Kentucky. So the Tigers have spent nearly twice as much time in the batter's box as the Wildcats. I know you are all wondering out there.
I think we need to start keeping that stat across the board because we don't have enough in softball and baseball. We don't have enough stats, so I think that we should just add another one.
I think it's a great point. I think the talent stats folks are certainly happy to add more to their plate. There's nothing they'd rather do than keep more stats. Oh, nice catch. Good play made in the bleachers down the third baseline. Very nonchalant after the catch, too. I'd be running up and down the aisle. You kidding?
Act like you've been there before, Kevin. Let's go.
No, I haven't been there before, so I won't act like it. Antoine to third and caught by Blaine, 1 away.
Now batting for LSU, center fielder number 4, Leah Andrews.
By the way, Stoddard is back in the game at third base. Blaine has returned to second. Johnson is back in left. Abernathy in center. Spangler in right. And Spangler, the right fielder, is going to track this one down. Nice play off the bat of Leah Andrews.
Spangler was up close toward the infield and able to drop back toward her glove side and go back on that one.
Sloan Gahan looking comfortable for Kentucky. Strike 1 over to Sierra Briggs. Just her 5th appearance of the year. 4th Kentucky pitcher of the game. Out of Ottawa, Illinois. Sloan Gahan, Ottawa Township High School. Four games last year, 5th of this season. Briggs had an infield single back in the first. She scored a few pitches later when Taylor Pleasance hit a 3-run home run. LSU has led from that moment on. Kentucky got to within a run at 3-2 in the second. But LSU's offenses just kept piling on. 2 runs in the third, 2 in the 5th, 3 more in the 6th.
Yeah, it's big for their offense to feel this way in game 1. You're scoring 10 runs in game 1 of the doubleheader. You're pretty excited to go into game 2, trying to get a series win. Looking like at this point it's going to come down to game 3 to decide who's going to get that series victory.
And Gahan pumps some gas by Briggs. Came back from 3-1 to strike her out. An impressive 1-2-3 for Sloan Gahan. Last chance for the Cats bats when we return. Each team has scored in 4.5 innings, but all of Kentucky's runs have been just one and done. LSU 4 crooked numbers. Tigers 10, Wildcats 4, last of the 7th. Middle game of a 3-game series. First of a doubleheader today if you want game 2. About 30 minutes after this game ends, you'll find that game over on SEC Network Plus coming up after our game here on ESPN2. 22nd ranked Georgia and number 17 Tennessee. Courtney Lyle, Caleb Breaux on the call. That game currently on ESPN News. Shelby Sinceri is going to try for a complete game in game 1, and she will face 7, 8, 9 here in the bottom of the 7th. Pinch hitter to start it off. This is J.C. Babbs batting for Ballman. And Babbs fouls away strike 2.
You mentioned Sinceri going for that complete game. That's always a big thing in a doubleheader whenever you just have to throw one pitcher in game 1 and then you have the rest of your staff ready for game 2 and to go for that series win, to be able to be rested, to not give the other team looks. In fact, they've only seen 2 of LSU's pitchers in Kilponen and Sinceri, and only seen Kilponen for 4 2/3.
You think Beth Dorina rolls with Kilponen again in game 3, or do you think Shelby Wickersham gets the start?
I would say Kilponen
Mm-hmm.
would get the start.
There's a hit by pitch. Babbs is aboard to lead off in the home 7th. By the way, Tennessee has jumped out first 1-0 on an RBI double from Allie Shipman over Georgia. Again, that game will follow us here on ESPN2 when we're done right now on ESPN News. What a strange week for Georgia. Trying to avoid getting swept at Tennessee after Georgia on Tuesday ended Oklahoma's 40-game win streak.
Can I take back my projection for Kilponen? I think I'm gonna go to Wickersham. Yeah, I think Wickersham, and then have Kilponen in relief.
You're just like Patrick Murphy. You didn't want the job after all. You wanted to go back to Alabama. Did somebody just text you in the last 20 seconds?
No.
Or what? Did you just change your mind?
No, just studying
Beth's
their
in the
stats.
dugout like, hey, Amanda, I'm getting your broadcast.
I heard what you just said, and you're
beamed
wrong.
into my Bluetooth earphones.
I don't know. Looking at the amount of games that each of them have started, it's so even. The amount of innings that they've thrown is not even. But Kilponen, 10 games started. Sinceri, this is her 10th game started. And Wickersham has 9 games started. So I have a feeling, keep the routine. Give her the start.
Miranda Stoddard with a ground ball to second. That one is booted by Tidwell. And Kentucky has the first 2 aboard at the bottom of the lineup here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at, too, to get your 7 and 8 hole on with nobody on. Or, excuse me, with nobody out. Just top of the order looming, an error for Taylor Tidwell. And that's one thing, talked a lot about it. LSU's offense and about their pitching staff, but their defense is one thing to me that just scares me a little bit more than the others in terms of being able to pull things together. 964 fielding percentage coming into this game, 42 errors made. They at times make these errors where they just kick the ball around, unable to make the routine play, or they make the extra throw that leads to an error.
They've allowed 71 runs in the SEC, Amanda. 21 of those are unearned. That's 30% of the runs they've allowed in conference games are unearned runs. That's a pretty staggering number, especially for a team that plays this many good teams and where the margin of error is so slim constantly.
It just seems like you start to trust in them, and then they'll kick a ball like Taylor Tidwell did. It kind of comes at these moments where you feel like they're on a roll and really pulling things together, and then they'll throw the ball around.
2 strikes on Riley Smith. And there's number 3. Sunseri picks up her second strikeout of the game.
That's one way to just not involve the defense at all, is just to get a strikeout. Being able to get Riley Smith to chase this drop ball low and away, get the 9-hole out. Now 1 out with 2 on.
And here's Kayla Kowalik. Home run, a single, and a sacrifice bunt. Strike 1 fouled away. There is a pinch runner in the game. Vanessa Nesby at first, pinch running for Stoddard, by the way. If Kowalik reaches base, the tying run would be in the hole. So they're getting a little bit closer, Kentucky. Still some work to do. And Kowalik will reach base on a single to right field. That will load the bases. The pinch runner, Nesby, got way off of second for no reason, but was able to get back. And here comes Kentucky.
Kowalik just keeps the train moving, being able to run through the box and then more of a power slap to drive one through the infield, make it to the outfield, of course. Not going to attempt to run on an outfield hit like that because of the fact that you're down by 6 runs, and 1 run is not going to be the difference maker.
So here's Spangler. By the way, Kowalik had a 9-game multi-hit streak snapped on Friday. She went a measly 1 for 4, so here she is, 3 for 3 in this game. You go to her last 14 games, she's 33 out of 49. Wow. Over 14 games, she's hitting .673. Like, you could go over Kayla Kowalik's last anything games, and the numbers are great. She's hitting .527 for the season coming into today. But this last month, maybe the best player in the country. 23-game hit streak. 15 extra base hits in those 23 games. Spangler into left field, and that's caught by Briggs for out number 2. A run will score, but LSU doesn't care. It's 10-5, but they're 1 out away from the Game 1 win.
Another sacrifice fly RBI for Tatum Spangler. Driving the ball deep, runner at third base, able to push across a run. Still down by 5.
So if Johnson reaches, the tying run would be Abernathy on deck. Koffel is the batter to follow. Remember, it was Abernathy who gave Kentucky the lead for good on Friday with a go-ahead grand slam. That is just off the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike from Sunseri as Cummins faked to throw through on the pinch runner Nesby. One and 1. That's well struck. Into the gap in right center off the bat of Johnson. Kentucky will bring the tying run to the on-deck circle as Johnson's double scores 2. It is 10-7, and the Wildcats are not done.
Coach Lawson told us about Lauren Johnson. You always have hope. You always know something can happen when she's up to bat. And she proves Coach Lawson right, finding that right center field gap for a couple of RBIs, a confident swing by Lauren Johnson whenever her team needs her the most in this game.
And by the way, all of these runs unearned, more unearned runs against LSU because of the error on the second batter of the inning. Sunseri's going to stay out there, 7 runs allowed. Only 3 of those runs earned. Beth Torina would love to get through Game 1 without having to go to Kilponen or Wickersham. But the tying run is on deck, and the tying run will bat if Erin Koffel can reach. 0 for 3 today, 3 groundouts, 2 to the pitcher, 1 to short. And there is Renee Abernathy, who was the hero yesterday, who can have a chance to play the hero again in the middle game of this series.
And with those three groundouts that Koffel has had in this game, she's looking to see the bottom of the ball, gotten on top of it over and over and over again with the off speed that Sinceri is throwing and her drop ball. She wants to see the bottom half of the ball.
That's muscled into right center field and caught by the second baseman, Tidwell. Nicely done by Taylor Tidwell, whose error had extended